Hey trail family, I'm Tarzan, and this is LikinHikin.
Run, run, honey, run on now. Run, run, just wanna see you go. Run, run, honey, run on now. Run, run, run. I was born in the shadow without the calm. Right with the chill. In a bloodshot dawn. I've been baptized.
All right, so today I'm going to be going through my through hiking kits. This will get me through most any terrain and weather. If I'm going through something really cold, I might be adding a layer or two, but for the most part, I can walk any trail anywhere with this entire bag. So we'll just break into it. The bag itself is a ULA CDT. They've changed the design on this a little bit. This is a few years old. This is smaller than what they have now, but it's a great pack, rides pretty good. Definitely wouldn't carry more than 20 pounds in this though, because past that, it just is exceeding its capacity. So if you have a light kit, highly recommend these bags, and they'll go thousands of miles. This one has like a little over 2,000 on it, and really the only place it shows is in the mesh, and it still holds everything fine. So speaking of which, it's got nice stretchy four-way mesh. This is great for holding your snacks for the day, especially your rain gear or wet tarp can kind of dry out. We've got ice axe loops. These are also great for drying your socks off. Whenever I get to a water source, I really want to scrub my extra pair of socks, get as much grime and dirt out as I can, and then I'll just hang them off of my ice axe loops or on the side compression strap. So yeah, we've got two compression straps, one on each side, really kind of sucks it into your body a bit. You don't want to do it too much because then your back panel will get kind of a bow to it and stick in your back. All right, so in my side pockets for filtration, I use a Sawyer Mini. I can usually get about 1,500 miles out of one of these before I really need to back flush it. So that's incredible. These are really cheap, super light, and you can screw them on to basically any water bottle. Which is great. You know, Smart water bottle or Life water bottles are really skinny, you know, ergonomic, easy to hold. You can fit other stuff in your pockets. So nothing too fancy, helps the environment a little bit, reuse, that kind of stuff. A little more water storage. This is just a generic soft bottle. I typically use a Platypus. They're really tough. They tend to last about 1,000 miles, 1,500 miles. And then you'll get like some leaks around the seal up here. So my last one popped, and then I just had to pick one of these up. But need to go back to Platypus because those are really great. I'll also keep an extra 2-liter Platypus just kind of rolled up just like that next to that for longer water carries. Especially on the CDT, there's routinely 20 to 30 mile carries. So I'll carry about 4 liters, maybe a little bit more. But I don't drink very much water, and I definitely know like how much I would need, and that tends to work for me. So just try to figure that out, really play with how much water you're drinking and keep track of it so that you can, you know, be safe on these longer carries. Platypus also makes a hydration hose that attaches to any bottle, just like the Sawyers. So that's a great feature because you don't have to have just a Platypus soft bottle. You can pick up a cheaper one at Walmart if you're resupplying in a town, and yeah. And they don't have an Outfitters. I keep like a carabiner watch on my shoulder strap because I know that I walk almost exactly a 20-minute mile pace in any terrain. I'm pretty consistent. It's probably from my running days, I don't know. But that way I can keep track of where I am, how far I've been for the day. Like if I'm trying to make it to a post office or, you know, make it in time to grab a slice of pizza or something, I know that, yes, if I push it, I can get there. That's basically the only reason I have a watch. Okay, other hip belt pockets. I have headlamp. This is a Petzl Tika Plus. It's been a solid headlamp. I mean, all I really need is, you know, maybe it's nice to have a couple different high beam settings. It also has a red light. I also have a Black Diamond Storm headlamp that I really like. I'll probably end up taking that guy. But they both are really lightweight, 3 AAA batteries. And I always keep that in the same spot because I don't want to be digging around searching for a headlamp when it gets dark. It's nice just to know where that is at all times. Also have a lighter in that pocket. You know, a lot of times I want to start a fire pretty quickly once I get to camp, so I like to also know where that is. Ooh, this is nice. The Peak Designs clip. It's like a quick release for your camera. So rather than, you know, keeping your camera on your top strap or in your back stretchy pocket like I've always done and have to sling off your backpack to get your camera, super uninspiring to take photos. So you just put a base plate on the bottom of your camera and you just clips right in there on your shoulder strap. Doesn't bounce too bad. I highly recommend it. It's a great piece of gear. It's designed really well. It's a little bit heavy, but for how much easier it is to take photos on the trail, it's worth it in my opinion. Okay, this other side pocket, toilet paper and a trowel. This is the Tent Labs, the Deuce. It's like a titanium trowel that doubles as a tent stake, so that's pretty cool. And it only comes in at like 0.6 ounces. Yeah, just makes digging holes a lot easier, especially when it's cold. I've used a trekking pole for years, but finally just decided to pick up one of these because it's worth it. It's also got a nice curve that kind of fits right around a bottle, so it doesn't take up any space. Extra water, smart water bottle with that pop top, because you can open it with one hand or just open it with your mouth. Because if you're carrying trekking poles, you don't want to be like, it's just easier to be able to open it with one hand. Smart water bottles are slim, they're pretty flexible, and they don't like, because they're so flexible and thin, they don't get all crunched up like a Coke bottle or something. Plus another way to reuse, it's always good. Oh yeah, also a tiny little pocket knife in that hip belt pocket. Self-defense, not really. I mainly just use this to cut blocks of cheese, and then the occasional thread if I'm like fixing my shoes or fixing my backpack. Yeah, I don't need a Bowie knife to cut a block of cheese, and a little, you know, 1/4 ounce knife is really all you need. A little more about the pack. There are 2 side compression straps. There's 1, 2. We have ice axe loops. Also good for hanging your socks on to dry. Oh yeah, rain gear. Okay, Kavu visor. I've just had this thing for years. It's been a good friend, taken it on thousands of miles, but love a good Kavu visor. My rain jacket is a piece of gear that I need to update before leaving. This is a Crag Hoppers rain jacket. It's just okay. I mean, it's kept me dry and warm, but it's really heavy. It's got like a lining in here that's really unnecessary. But yeah, it weighs like over 1 pound. There's no pit zips. So yeah, I'm gonna update this guy, but I keep that on the outside for when the rain comes. You wanna stay dry as quick as possible. I just let my legs and feet get wet because they're going to eventually, so you might as well embrace it. All right, and now we'll dig into the pack a little bit. So they've got a nice long top compression strap. If you can't fit like a full-size bear vault in your backpack, this is long enough to strap over top. I got like the Solo 450 vault, and that was good enough for me. Okay, so I always keep food on the very top because you're always hungry and you want access to that as much as possible. So this is just a dry bag that I use. I'll probably pick up like a Cuban fiber bag or something, or an op sack. Those are great because they're clear. You can see what kind of food you have without, you know, having to like dig around and smash up all your food. It's just nice to be able to see what's there. Inside of here, Talenti's gelato jar. I use this for cold soaking. Couscous is great, oatmeal, refried beans, ramen. Basically anything that you add boiling water to, you can cold soak it. So you're gonna put your food, your dry food in there, and then just pour in some water. Bring that water level right up to the top of the food, and then add just a little bit more. That tends to be like about the perfect amount to kind of get that you know, saucy kind of food that's gonna be better than just like a granola bar and peanut butter. It's nice to have a little bit of variety, but cold soaking is rough. It's not for everybody, but it does save a lot of weight. So if that is a concern of yours, I would consider it because you can get creative with it. Then I've got my massive spoon. I found this guy in a shelter in Maine, and it's gone with me ever since. Thing weighs like a lot, but it's sturdy as heck. I had broken like 3 spoons up into that point, and this is like basically an ice cream scoop. So when you go into town and you get that half gallon, you can just go to town. Highly recommend a sturdy spoon. It's kind of funny though. I love it. And then just a bandana to clean out the Talenti's jar when it gets kind of nasty. You don't want it to get too funky. It'll get funky, but not too funky. Okay, I use a trash bag liner. That is one of the best tips that I've picked up from hiking. You can go through river crossings and your backpack will go all the way underwater and your entire kit will stay dry because of your trash bag. This has holes in it and it still even does so much of a better job than a rain cover or a pack cover. I don't recommend pack covers. They're a waste of weight. They don't work. Only in like a light drizzle for an hour are you going to be okay with a rain cover, because eventually it's just going to soak through the shoulder straps, down your back. You're going to be sweating because it's raining, and your pack is going to be soaked anyways, I promise. So leave the pack cover at home and just get like a trash compactor bag or an outdoor trash bag, something durable. It'll save your life. All right, so this is clothes. I kind of try to pack my bag like what I'm going to be needing in order for the end of the day, basically, because I try to keep all of my stuff very accessible throughout the day, like food. Sometimes I'll need an extra layer, so I have to dig down here a little bit, but for the most part, I can just keep all of this stuff in my pack all day until I get to camp, and then I can unload it in order so I can like just get to sleep as fast as possible, because that's usually the goal. Okay. So what do I have in my clothes bag? Extra pair of socks. I carry 2 pairs of hiking socks and I rotate them. When I pick up water, I'll wash out my socks as much as I can to get that grime and dirt out, and then I'll hang them on my pack to dry. Because your socks are just going to be wet and gross no matter what. Again, you just need to like accept that and be okay with it, and you'll have more fun, I promise. A pair of sleep socks, so I never wear these while hiking. They stay relatively clean, and they're warm and cozy at night. One of the best parts of the day sometimes when it's been a rough day, you're like, ooh, sleep socks. So that is a luxury, I guess, but highly recommended. Okay, wind jacket from Solomon. It's called like the Fast Wing, I think, Solomon Fast Wing, but weighs like 3 ounces. The warmth to weight ratio for a wind jacket is super high, so it's you literally like can't reason not carrying one, even for ultralight guys, because you're getting more warmth out of this like little 3 ounces than a lot of stuff. So I highly recommend adding one of those to your kit. Let's see, these are like compression sleeves for my shins, so they help with shin splints as well as keep me warm. I don't typically carry pants or leggings unless it's really cold. So these cover your shins and give you a little warmth, plus they just help your muscles. This is a Patagonia synthetic vest. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. It's very warm. If it gets wet, I'm still good to go. I'll usually wear this while sleeping, kind of push the rating of my sleeping bag a little bit. So I'll put, if I'm really cold, I'll put my wind jacket over this and then my rain jacket over top of that. And that has kept me warm down to like 15 degrees and I've been fine. Okay. A pair of Sky Deer running gloves. They've got like the touch sensitivity on the fingers. I believe they're just a polyester blend, but it gets chilly in the mornings and you don't like, my fingers get pretty cold, so especially with trekking poles. So gloves are fairly important. All right, next is like a ditty bag, just random stuff. Got first aid, batteries, electronics, little journal. This weighs like 1.5 ounces. Toothbrush, half of it, of course. Small little toothpaste. My first aid basically consists of a roll of climbing tape, a needle, some dental floss, and Joshua Tree climbing salve is super good at healing blisters. You pop those things, rub a lot of Joshua Tree on it for the next 2 days, and it will it'll callus up your feet really well. and yeah, just help you prevent future blisters. So Joshua Tree is excellent. Extra headlamp batteries, 1 extra set. So yeah, I've got my cube, then my charger, toothbrush, first aid, and journal. Just in your regular Ziploc bag. Cheap and foolproof. All right, so this is my shelter. It is the 6 Moon Designs Deschutes Plus. This is a great shelter. I highly recommend you looking into it. They've been able to keep the weight down super low. It's like 16.1 ounces or something, so just over a pound for a really roomy, really quality shelter. It does not have a bathtub floor, but it does have a built-in bug net that drapes kind of underneath of your sleeping pad. And the bug net goes up to the pitch of the top of the tent, right? It meets right there. So you don't have the weight of all of the bug netting above you, essentially. Wherever there's tarp, there's no bug net, if that makes sense. So it's kept the weight down significantly, and the bulk down. I mean, this thing is tiny. And yeah, sets up with like 6 stakes. So I've got 5 shepherd's hook stakes in here. Nothing too fancy. And then, yeah, that trowel doubles as my 6th stake, remember. And that thing holds really well in high winds, rocky soil, because it digs in really well. These are just titanium stakes. Okay, and then I have an Enlightened Equipment Enigma 20. This quilt is super nice, one of my favorite pieces of gear. Basically, a quilt has cut out the fabric in the back of the sleeping bag, what's underneath of you, because down, if you lay on it and compress it, it's not insulating at all. So you might as well get as much insulation over top of you and cut out the weight of the fabric underneath of you. It just makes sense. I've stayed really warm in this thing, and then in the summer when it gets hot, you can open up the foot box really easily and get a little breeze down there. So it's versatile. It's super light, weighs like a pound. Yeah, definitely look into Enlightened Equipment, one of the best cottage industry manufacturers out there. Then I have a Sea to Summit like travel pillow, weighs 2 ounces. This guy is super nice. It's definitely worth it. A lot of times I don't have enough clothes in my bag to make a pillow with it, so this has been a nice 2 ounces to have, because a good night's sleep can be really important when you're walking big miles. So yeah, like I said, I line my entire backpack with like a heavy duty trash bag, and that keeps everything dry inside my bag. So this ULA pack has these nice compression straps for your sleeping pad, and since this pack is frameless, you kind of need like a foam pad to give it structure. So this is a Thermarest Z-Rest cut down to 6 panels, and when it's 6, that's like just enough to get underneath of my hip. I'm a side sleeper and I can sleep on this, but not everybody can, I understand. So yeah, when you have 6, you can just fold it like an accordion and then open it, and you've got nice symmetrical kind of frame right there that you can then just, in the morning, you're gonna shove this down into your pack. Make sure it's at the very bottom, and then get your elastic straps to keep it in place. And you definitely want to make sure that that's centered, because if it's not, it's going to be really uncomfortable throughout the day. Then I'm going to take my trash bag, shove it all the way down in the bottom, spreading it out. Giving myself a little extra down there because the sleeping bag is going to expand. And then I'm going to pack my sleeping bag in the very bottom. And notice that I don't use a stuff sack with my bag, because down is going to compress really well, and then as it sucks in air, it's going to expand back out. So as your sleeping bag is going to kind of expand in your pack, it's actually going to fill it out really how all those seams are designed. A stuff sack too will kind of give you a bulge in the bottom of your lower back and just not sit right. Okay, and then I'm going to put my shelter down in here. If it had rained the night before, I would shove it in my outside pocket and let it dry. Got my ditty bag, got my clothes. Then I got my food. So for your trash bag, you're just gonna give it a couple twists and then tuck it. And now all your stuff is totally waterproof. Like I said, I keep food on the outside of that bag because I want quick access to it. Gonna do that. Roll top down helps with the waterproofness. Top compression strap. I tuck that in the front pocket so it's not swinging around. All right, and I'm packed and good to go. Takes, less than 5 minutes. So my trekking poles, I've got Lecky cork lights. These are the older models. I love a cork handle. It just feels way better on your hands, especially when you're sweaty, as opposed to foam. I do wish they had that choke up down here. That's kind of nice on a steep climb and you're not in your handles. But besides that, they've been great. Plus, they are usually carried in most outfitters. So if you have snapped a section, you can just get a replacement really easily. I've only had to replace like 2 sections, I think. Going up Mount Washington, I like stuck it in a hole and then, kept walking and it just snapped off that bottom section there. But you can replace the tips, so that's super nice. And then my shelter requires, 1 trekking pole to kind of hold the whole thing up. So I've thought about maybe getting like a carbon fiber tent pole and dropping trekking poles, but I love the stability of them. I don't think I could give it up now. If you are not used to using trekking poles, definitely like give it 2 to 3 weeks of everyday use and try to get used to it. Out on the trail, not like necessarily walking down the street. I don't use them when I'm doing a road walks because once you're comfortable with them, it just feels like 2 extra legs and they're super nice. So I highly recommend them. And Lecky is great. They're a little more expensive up front, but like I said, those have 4,500 miles on them and they're still doing great. Okay, my shoes, let's talk about that. I've got, these are Luna sandals. These are a great sandal, one of the best that I've found. As you can see, they're starting to break in really nicely. The sole is a Vibram sole, so it's lasted a pretty good while. I've got some wear now. I think these have like 300 miles on them. So not the most durable sandal out there, but when it comes to fit, their lacing system is like the best that I've found. They have a nice like compression strap. It's a lot like a Teva, how it just sucks it back onto your ankle. And I'll use like Injinji socks with those if it's cold or I have a blister. But sandals have eliminated my blister problem like almost entirely. Just because your feet can breathe so much, you get a little bit more foot fatigue like on the front end of your hike, but your feet will toughen up, your arch will lift like a bridge, and you just have to walk properly. I would look into minimalist running and proper cadence and stride, because if you're slamming your heels down in these, you're going to get injured for sure. So a nice 4-foot, kind of pointing your toes and really aiming your feet is pretty necessary if you want to go minimalist. Also, earth runners are a really good one. My favorite part about them is their suede footbed. It breaks in super nicely and conforms to you. They also have kind of this like lugged bottom. It grips a little better than the Lunas. But their strap is not quite as secure as Luna's. If I wanted to, I could take, like, this strap comes off, the top compression strap. It actually totally comes off, and I could put it on a sandal like this. But for a long hike, I would probably go with Luna's. I'm trying to get some Bedrock Cairns soon, the Cairn 3D. Those sandals look amazing, so I'm looking forward to trying those out and giving those a nice review. I'll probably end up taking some Bedrocks on the AT in February, so be looking out for a review of those because those are a great sandal and a great company. All right, well, that's it, guys. That is my entire kit. I think it comes in about 8 pounds or so. I haven't weighed everything. I'll add that up for you and kind of leave it in the description below. And you can see all of the pieces of gear that I have. If you saw anything that you really like or want to check out further and research, just go to mykit.com, and there are links to buy those things. That'll help me out a little bit if you want to support this upcoming calendar Triple Crown hike that I have. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Check out Instagram at LikinHikin. And then I've got a personal website, LikinHikin.com. There's going to be a lot of blog posts coming up to that and some more photos. And if you're interested in the planning process and the training behind this hike, go to that website, go to Instagram. I've got a lot of different stuff coming out on there because I'd love to continue to bring these videos to you guys, but they do take a lot of time and effort. And I never expect anybody to support me financially, but if you have the means, you can go to my Patreon. There's a link in the description, and you can sign up to get a lot of different pieces of art and videos and live Q&As with me through that. So check it out if it's something that you would be interested in. I think that's all I got for you guys. So get out on the trails, and I hope you guys have a great night. Thanks. Bye.